Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It is Kate here with another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Echoes La Brea. Since we're about to get the Mammoth release, I wanted to talk about some upcoming possible updates after the Mammoth releases and what they're going to basically do once the Mammoth is out. Because we have a bunch of things that are kind of unknown about the next update after the Mammoth, I kind of wanted to share my conspiracy on what could be coming after the Mammoth. And with that said, let's go ahead and get right into it. So as we all know, on November 22nd, we will be getting the Mammoth. As well as getting the Mammoth, we will be getting the game free to play. So everyone will be able to play Echoes La Brea for free. And it will no longer cost any Robux to actually play. Which is a really big deal because we haven't actually gotten a new playable since the game has been released to us. We've only gotten things such as the NPCs. So the first thing, which is pretty obvious, is after the Mammoth update, we'll probably be getting a bunch of balances when it comes to all of the mammals in the game, because with a new playable coming out, there will be a bunch of fixes and balances. So balances and changes will be put in place right after the Mammoth update to make sure that everything runs smoothly, and of course bug fixes will be in that mixture because of course there's going to be some sort of bugs that pop up now and then when the Mammoth does release to the game. And since it's going to be releasing to the public for free, there's going to be a ton more people playing Echoes La Brea than typically, so there's going to be a lot of things that will pop up that didn't pop up before that they are going to have to fix or change. Now the next thing we're going to be talking about is the next playables for Echoes La Brea. Now they did say when they actually released the information that they are working on the Mammoth that they had 2 other playables in the works, and they don't really give us any information other than the fact that they're working on these playables. So a lot of people have kind of been guessing on what this could possibly mean and what it could possibly be. So the first playable guess that I have is the Arctodus. The Arctodus is actually a short-faced bear that inhabited the North America during the Pleistocene. And the reason I have this guess that it's going to be this specific bear is because, one, the bear is actually an omnivore, and we don't have any omnivore playables just yet in the game. Now, if we're going to be getting 2 other playables after the Mammoth release, this is possibly going to mean that we're going to be getting another carnivore and also the first omnivore. This would place a lot of new mechanics in play, as this is going to be the first omnivore in the game, so a lot of things are going to be different and also unique about the bear. There's also a lot of people that have had the same guesses that this is going to be the next species that will be playable in the game, and a lot of people are saying it's either that or it's going to be some sort of coyote or something. Which this does move us on to the next playable guess, and that would be the coyote. There is so many people in the community right now thinking that the coyote is going to be one of the next introduced playables to the game. Of course, the coyote is a carnivore, meaning that this would be in the carnivore section. It would only make sense if they released the Mammoth, which is a herbivore, then released an omnivore, and then released a carnivore to kind of balance out how many are in each of them. So we don't have too many carnivores, we don't have too many herbivores. It would be the perfect balance out when it comes to this. But there's also some speculations I have about this actually being the coyote. One of my speculations is if we actually get the bear that I actually talked about previously, which was the omnivore, we would have a lot of strong kind of playables. The Mammoth is pretty strong itself, and honestly, it's not going to be able to be taken down by a dire wolf or whatnot. So it's very unlikely that we will actually be getting the coyote as our next carnivore playable, because if we were, the players that play the coyote are going to have a very hard time unless they're in numbers to actually take down anything unless it is actually Western horse. Which brings me to my third guess that I have for the playables, the American lion. This one would make more sense to be actually released than the coyote and the 2 playables that they have currently being worked on. The reason I say this is because if we have the Mammoth release and the Arctodus, which is the bear I just mentioned, then we have a lot of heavy statted playables. So if you think about it this way, if we were to have a Mammoth and then we have a bear that is possibly going to be very strong, it wouldn't make sense for them to add in a coyote, which is going to basically be weaker than the direwolf that we currently have. And the direwolf is already going to struggle taking down a Mammoth or taking down a Arctodus, so it would make much more sense if the American lion was the playable for the carnivore section that they have currently being worked on. Now, we could all be completely wrong about these playables, and it could be something completely different from what we have as the guesses, but honestly, I feel like this one would fit more as to what's going to be released when they have the announcement come out on the next playable, and I feel like the American line would fit much better than the Coyote. It also does state in the American line's diet that they were carnivorous, consisting of large mammals such as bison, horses, deer, camels, and also mammoths, meaning that these guys did hunt mammoths. And this would make them one of the primary predators for the mammoths, making them have some sort of competition when you're playing the mammoth in game. Versus the Coyote, which actually has small mammals in their diet, and they also like to scavenge carcasses. Now that is also a big thing. Scavenging carcasses could also mean that the Coyote will come before the American lion, because then you'll have a creature that just goes around taking carcasses from the map and scavenging off of them. But it's kind of inconsistent with the playables currently coming out because it goes after small mammals, which we do have NPCs, don't get me wrong, but a lot of the playables we have now are not small mammals that the coyotes can just go and attack. So if you're playing as a coyote, your best bet is just to survive off of NPCs, and to be honest, that's gonna get pretty boring for people who play the coyote. So my bet is more so on the American lion when it comes to this than the coyote. My guess is we're probably gonna be getting the omnivore playable first. Now, they didn't really say that they were going to be adding any specific diet next. I just had the guess that omnivore and then carnivore to kind of balance out the diet system, because it wouldn't make sense if we have the mammoth and then releasing later on would be another herbivore. That would be a lot of herbivores, and it would kind of make it kind of off balance with the ecosystem. So my guess is the next one we're probably going to be getting is some sort of omnivore, like the bear for mentioning. And since this is the first playable releasing, we don't really know their kind of schedule when it comes to releasing new playables. So we don't really have like an estimated guess on when they're going to release the next playable after the mammoth comes out, because we're kind of unsure on how their system works when it comes to releasing the next playable. As when it comes to Echoes La Brea, it's not like every single month we get a new species, because every single month it's kind of unknown. So my guess is if we were to get the next playable, we're probably going to get the first sneak peek of it around December to New Year's. So around December or New Year's, we will be getting the first sneak peek of the next playable. That is my guess, because if not, then it would probably be the month of February or January that we're going to be getting the sneak peek of the second new playable coming out after the mammoth. Now, depending on how fast they work on these playables depends on when it would actually come out. My guess is it's probably going to be coming out around June or July of next year for the next playable, because I'm kind of just taking the estimated guess of how long it took the mammoth to come out and kind of combining it to how long they're going to have the next playable take to come out. Now, keep in mind the game is going to be free to play, meaning a lot more people are going to be playing the game now than they have been before when the game was just for Robux. So this could speed up the progress of the next playable that will be coming out, and they also did say that they were currently working on the other playables while working on the mammoth, so it could be also earlier than what I just said, but that is my estimated guess on when the next playable would come out if we get the next playable sneak peek around January to February. But that is basically everything I wanted to cover in today's video. If you have other guesses on the playables that will be coming after the mammoth, let me know in the comments below, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!